Welcome to the review of Heroes Quest 1, So You Want to Be a Hero. The game was created by Sierra and released in 1989 with EGA graphics. There was a re-release in 1992 with VGA graphics. I will be reviewing the original version. The game is a hybrid adventure/role-playing game. The plot is that the village of Spielberg is in desperate need of a hero. There are all kinds of evil things going on, such as an evil ogress named Baba Yaga, who's cursed the land and caused all kinds of chaos. While the main quest is to actually rescue the Baron Spielberg's daughter, the game actually has quite a few side quests. You don't even have to complete them, but of course they add to your score. If you haven't watched my review of King's Quest, Space Quest, and the Black Cauldron, I highly recommend you do so first. Also, this review will have a few spoilers in it, so if you want to play the game without any hints whatsoever, I recommend not watching this review. What makes this game unique and very refreshing is the fact that it's a hybrid, so the story is extremely important, but you also have some fun with combat and exploration. The game begins with you choosing a character class. You can either be a fighter, magic user, or thief. One of the most awesome features about this game is it varies based on your character class and your abilities, so you can have completely different results based on your class. So you get so many points to distribute in the beginning. As you can see, we have 50, and based on the class you start with, determines what type of attributes and skills you have. You can actually create a hybrid class. In other words, you can give pick locks to a fighter, but to raise from 0 to 5 points costs you 15 points, so it's very expensive to do so. Strength helps to determine how much damage you cause in combat when striking with a weapon. It also helps determine how many hit points you have, as well as how many items you can carry. Intelligence is primarily for the magic user. It determines how powerful your spells are, as well as how many magic points you have. Agility determines how quickly you can move, so that means during combat you can duck, dodge, and hide better, and thieves need it in order to do their skills, such as climbing and picking locks. Stamina points are also affected by agility. Vitality is useful in order to absorb damage and to have higher hit points. It also affects stamina. When your hit points, or this game calls it health points, reaches 0, your character dies. So you begin the game in the village of Spielberg. You'll notice right away that beautiful Sierra feel to it. The colorful graphics, the nice characters, it really sucks you into the game. Instead of playing as a set character name, such as Graham in King's Quest, you actually get to name your character. That really helps to make it feel like you're personally involved in the game. You can access the menu by hitting the escape key and view things such as the About dialogue. There's even a built-in Help dialogue, which you can activate by pressing F1 incidentally. And this game is very difficult, one of the harder Sierra games in my opinion. So of course there's the save game feature, which allows you to name your saved games. There is a limit to the number that you can save, but you can luckily overwrite. So if you end up dying, you can simply use the restore feature and go back to where you were. So you have the ability to increase the animation speed or slow it down. You can change sound volume. You can pause the game or repeat commands that you had previously typed. You can view your character sheet which shows you your skills and attributes, which incidentally will increase as you use them throughout the game. Another awesome feature. You can see what time it is. It does keep track of the day and time. And you can do some hotkey type text like ask about, so you don't have to type them in. It'll put it there for you. Ask about and look at are very typical phrases, so they decided to provide a special command for them. The text parser is pretty much like King's Quest, where you type in pretty straightforward commands and hopefully you'll get lucky and they'll work. But like the other Sierra games, sometimes the text parser is pretty lacking. Look ass, it's not important. Okay, how about kiss ass? You really didn't say that, did you? Yeah, it's filled with Sierra humor as well. And they force you to be a good guy. You can't attack innocent people. Yeah, it's a bummer. So you move from screen to screen like typical Sierra games. And this game does have a nice soundtrack, nice musical effects. They do limit where you can go, as in many Sierra games. There's a lot of doors that won't open. And there's a lot of events and animations that happen. Like here we sit down at the table. And here comes the hostess. You have the ability to look at your inventory and see what you're carrying and how much money you have. There's also a limit on how many items you can carry based on your strength. And if you're a magic user, it'll show the spells that you've learned. Every gold coin is worth 10 silver coins for the exchange rate. The nice thing about this game is you're always kind of struggling for money, so you're not overloaded and it doesn't feel too easy or cheap. Another nice feature about this game is if you view your character sheet after something has changed, it turns red, such as these puzzle points. The game has a lot of cool effects, such as this eyeball following your character as he moves around. There's a nice magic shop here in the village of Spielberg, which of course is only useful for the magic user class. Or a hybrid, of course. Listen to that creepy music. Sierra is so awesome with environment. They make things feel so real and so intense. So since we're not a magic user, this shop has no use for us. But there is a shop where we can buy some good items for us. We can buy daggers and armor and all kinds of things. Daggers are used to throw at enemies from a distance. There's a tavern. There's a guild hall. Which has, incidentally, the quest board. This is where you can see all the different side quests and the main quest of the game. It tells you what you need to do and it tells you how much you'll earn for the reward. There isn't any particular order in which you have to do some of the quests, which is very nice, so it doesn't have a linear feel to it. As I mentioned earlier, the game does have a concept of nighttime versus daytime. So here it's the day, same area at night. And of course at nighttime things can be dangerous, such as walking down this alley. Here's the same alley at daytime. The time determines when certain characters are available, as well as some stores or buildings open. You can get the time to determine that by typing what time is it. And if you want to pass the time quickly, you could rest at the inn or some other place. There's actually several different places in the game where you can rest. It's a little expensive staying at the inn, but it recovers stamina and hit points. Another demonstration. During the morning, this female centaur is here, and in the afternoon, she's gone. So eventually you'll journey outwards from the town. And you can follow the road, which is safe. And the first building you'll run across is the healer, which is priceless in this game. She can sell you healing potions, and you can actually earn a little money from her as well. In order to do so, you have to gather spell components for her. She also sells magic and vigor potions in addition to an undead potion. So as you're exploring, if you're walking on a screen that has a road, you're safe. No one will encounter you here. But if you're walking through the woods or some other area, all bets are off. Sierra limits the screens in which you can visit, and they do so usually with mountains or snowdrifts in the typical King's Quest fashion. You'll also run into some locked doors. Sometimes you can open them, sometimes you can't. There's a creepy cemetery. And you'll run across mystical creatures, such as the centaur. You can't swim in this game like you can in the King's Quest series, but the beautiful graphics make up for it. And they do have special animations, such as bending down when you're taking a drink of water. The game has really cool sound effects too, such as this gate raising. Part of the game you'll be a scavenger, trying to find special items. Sometimes you'll be scavenging for information. And other times you'll have to buy information, such as from this shady character. Can I really trust this guy? That is the question. Sometimes you'll do a good service, and because you did so, you'll get information that way. Here we're freeing this captured fox. We run across some other cool characters like these meeps. But the core of the game is the quests. For instance, we need to try to find the healer's gold ring that she lost. So we had noticed there was something up in the tree, so we threw a rock at the nest, knocked it down, and sure enough, it was her gold ring. We get our reward, and we get more than we bargained for. This is funny. Look at that animation. Gotta love Sierra humor. You can do fun things like catch the seed from these creatures. Are you getting a feel for how diverse the actions are in this game? It's really hard to earn money in this game. Probably one of the better and easier ways is to help this healer out by finding spell components for her. There's also a place in the castle where you can do some work. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. That hourglass is a really nice touch. All that work for 5 silvers. Sometimes you'll stumble across gold and silver, such as in this cave. And I found an archery practice area where I was trying to throw my daggers at this target. And unfortunately there's a terrible bug in this game where it just freezes up. Can't type anything, can't move. The only thing I could do is restore the game. Yeah, that's pretty bad, but that was the only one I found. You can work on your throwing skill a little bit by just throwing the daggers in the middle of the air. Luckily, you can retrieve them. You can also find the spot in the game where you can do some training for your weapon use. And you'll notice now when we look at our character sheet, all the things that it increased. So eventually you'll encounter some monsters. And once the monster reaches you on the screen, it throws you into a first-person perspective. And you can push left, right in order to dodge. You can push forward in order to attack with your weapon. And you can push down in order to use your shield. So here we just stab the monster to death, and we watch its corpse appear. This is a demonstration on using a shield and dodging. It's kind of hard to time it because the animation's pretty bad. But after a fight, you can look at your character sheet and again see which attributes and skills have changed. That red color is a very nice feature. If you were injured, you could drink a healing potion to get some of your health points back. Same with vigor potions in order to get stamina back. Or if you're a magic user, drink your magic potion. Get back some of those magic points. You can buy armor. Whether you want to buy leather or chainmail, it's up to you if you have enough money. Luckily, you can trade in your leather armor to get the chainmail. As you fight and kill creatures, you have the ability to search them. And a lot of times you won't find anything. But sometimes you'll get lucky and find some silver. The tougher the enemy, the more silver you find when you search them. And some creatures don't really have any money, but this troll, for instance, you can take his beard. That's a special item that you can use later. And sometimes you may even find a chest. And then you have to figure out how to open it. If you just try to open it while it's locked, it doesn't work. If you're a magic user and you have the open spell, you can cast that. And thieves have the ability to pick locks. You also have the ability to throw rocks and daggers at enemies before they reach you, causing a little damage. And then you proceed into normal combat. Throwing the rocks is weak and doesn't cause much damage. With daggers, on the other hand, you can actually kill an enemy outright if you're good at it. I love the sound. It's so satisfying. Once you kill the enemy, you can get your daggers back, so that's a nice feature. You can also cast the Flame Dart spell if you're a magic user, causing a little damage to the enemy before going into straight combat. You can flee from enemies on the screen before they reach you, or if you're in the middle of combat, you can type escape. Sometimes though they'll follow you, and sometimes you can't escape, such as from this troll. Here this man is following me across the screen and I can't get away. And our first death. Which is going to be happening a lot. So you better be saving the game. There's many different ways to die besides just combat. You can even die from exhaustion if you're carrying too much. Here we end up ticking off this hermit, and he kicks us out and goes from this happy little music to death. Whoopsie daisy. So you'll start finding tougher monsters to fight, such as this flying creature. And I think it's determined based on your skill and your attributes. I'm not sure if it's related to your current score or not. So here's an even tougher monster. And you'll finally fight one of the toughest in the game, such as this cheetar. There are some set encounters too that are always the same, and they're in certain areas, like this ogre. Or this bear. Ah, looks hungry and dangerous. Let's try Flame Dart. Oh, that tickled. Whoops, that was a miss. Let's try it again. So sometimes you might have to cast a different spell, such as Calm. Turn this vicious bear into a teddy bear. We can walk right by it. It can also work in the random encounters, such as this cheetar. Some enemies, such as this kobold, are resistant to magic. He can actually reflect it back to you. So what about Calm? That's a fail. So then he starts casting balls of lightning at you. Good old fighting can work against this kobold though. That's one of the cool things about this game, is the fact that different types of strategies can work better in different situations. If you have the magic points, the magic user can make things pretty easy, such as opening a secret door. Other times you have to find special keys in order to unlock things. If you're a thief, you can of course pick certain locks. Here we open a treasure chest. And then get all the money. There's quite a few ways you can do things in the game. Here we don't have any climbing ability, so we can't climb up these rocks to get to that door. Now here's an example of being a thief. We have no problem getting up there. So how else can you get up there? Well, you can throw a rock if you have good throwing skill. Or if you're a magic user, you can cast the trigger spell and find this hidden ladder. Magic users also have the ability to magically charge their weapons so they do more damage. Thieves can sneak with the stealth ability. Very useful to avoid monsters that may detect you. But it only works so well. This is pretty funny. I'm just kind of sneaking out here in the open. Gotta love that reaction. And there's a diverse set of quests, such as helping out this dryad. Beautiful music. Or completing this quest by saving the baronet. Who actually turns out to be a real asshole. But we do still get our reward. And the Baron has to kick his baronet's son to get him into action. Gotta love that Sierra humor. What an appropriate name too, Barnard. There's also cute little funny things, such as this woman sleeping, trying to talk with her. And another sleeping person tries to act like he was awake. There's a funny creature called the Antwerp, which knocks you around. And here I actually try to fight it. Whoa! Where'd it go? You can be a klutz and get knocked off of ledges quite easily. And you can be quite cocky. There's this funny guy here, which his name was Me. It's basically like being in a fun house trying to reach them. Trying to figure out how in the world to get over there. You can fall down these pits and you just keep flying through that door over and over. And then he throws stuff at you. Love that carnival music too. Some of the doors you go through are disorienting and have you come out in weird random spots. Sometimes you'll open them up and all that's behind them are brick walls. Or doors that actually crush you. Lots of fun. Even some of the deaths in the game can be fun. This is a classic Sierra bad eye-rolling joke, but it's still funny and entertaining. Rugged time of it. Terrible catastrophe. Get it? Haha. Another somewhat entertaining death. I like the little clown head down there bouncing around with that spring. The game also has some real-time aspects, such as this scene where you have to solve this puzzle while they're trying to break in to get you. You have to time everything just right. Here comes three guys that look very much like the Three Stooges, incidentally. Oh, a wise guy, eh? That's funny. Nice. There's also mini games, such as this little maze type thing that you play with this wizard, where you have to cast certain spells and move ladders and rocks, bridges, in order to get the guys across. It's pretty cool. So overall, what did I think of this game? Well, it's got the typical frustrating text commands, where you're trying to communicate or perform an action and the parser's just very limited. So that can be frustrating. So it says there's honey but it won't sell it to me, or I say buy 50 apples and it gives me 10. Just silly things like that. It has great music. It has surprises that pop up now and then, literally. Beautiful graphics, especially for EGA. Lots of color and diversity so you can explore the screens and try to find out what to do. There's also first-person perspectives with nice animations. Sometimes it switches to cozy little views like this. Makes you really feel like you're inside the room. Or that you're in a creepy cave. There's lots of fun and funny things you can do. Whee! Casting flame darts in the middle of nowhere. There's some WTF moments like this submarine showing up in this lake. And that's cool. They make a reference to another game. We're treated to a plethora of other funny things in the game, such as this hermit who won't pronounce his H's. And while combat was somewhat boring and tedious, it was ahead of its time, and it offered a nice mix to the game. Lots of creepy scenes, nice graphics. creepy feel where monsters sneak up behind you. And the fact that you can play as a fighter, magic user, thief, or a hybrid makes this game lots of fun. Lots of replay value. And the quests are just plain awesome. This game is amazing and a jewel. And now I'll leave you with the last scene of the game. If you want to stop watching, please do so. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you next time.